Hello and welcome to the Queen of Cornish, the panel show about everything Cornish with a twist. I'm Graham Wilkes and I'll be your host. Let's explain how this works. We bring our guests on, give them Cornish-themed topics and let them argue which is best. Then I crown the winner. So let's get started. Your first topic is pasties. So Simon, what would you say would be your favourite pasty and why?
Okay, so my favourite pasty would be banana because they're top. But if you're talking about pasties that exist, which I presume you are, I would have to say, as we're in Cornwall, I would have to say the Cornish pasty.
Okay, and why would that be?
Well, it's a little known fact that Cornish pasties are luminous in the dark. They glow in the dark because people used to go to mines. When people mined, like started mining.
So miners?
Miners
Okay.
Miners in 1931, they went down the mine first day and they had sandwiches and they couldn't see them, so they couldn't have their lunch.
Yeah.
So that's when someone thought Cornish pasty would make it illuminous, and then they could eat lunch in the mine, so it'd save time.
I would have thought they would have just thought, might as well make our sandwiches illuminous, really, but it's fair enough that they do it with pasties.
You can't, it's impossible to make an illuminous sandwich because the illuminous meat would fall out the sides of the sandwich.
Oh, right.
So that's why they make the crust, and then it radiates outside the pastry.
They just needed to work on the sandwich, really, but I do
Starting to
like
make
that.
sense
Good.
to me now.
Well, it would because it's true.
Scientifically true. It
Well,
sounds.
it's not, and factually true.
Okay,
and
well,
actually
we've
true.
decided what yours is, Simon. So, Owen, what would you say your favourite pasty would be and why?
Yeah, beat
My
that.
favourite pasty. It depends what the filling is. So I've actually
Yeah,
taken
it
the
does depend what the
liberty of
filling is.
writing down a list of my favourite pasty fillings.
Okay.
So starting at number 10, I've got meat.
Which kind of meat?
Number 9,
Oh, God.
vegetable.
What kind of vegetables?
Kind of a weird choice. Number 8, seafood. So we live by the coast
What
in
kind of
Cornwall.
seafood?
Oh, I'm actually on a seafood diet.
All right.
It's like I'm invisible.
Number 7, bread.
What kind of bread? Granary bread? Oatmeal bread?
Hovis.
Hovis bread.
Hovis.
I used to work in the Hovis factory. Good choice.
Brown or white, it doesn't really matter.
You could get that 50-50.
50-50 would probably make
50-50
it
pasty.
less disgusting.
No, 50-50 bread.
Nuts.
Yeah, but that's in the pasty. Anyway,
Nuts.
carry on, yeah.
Nuts.
I don't like. I'm allergic. I would die. I don't believe. What
Are
is
you
your
actually
number one?
mental?
Number 4, condiments.
Condiments pasty.
Is it? No. Trying to think outside the box. What would be the ultimate pasty? It's not going to be anything that we've ever heard of.
Well, it
It's
is.
got to
It
exist
is.
because it's
It
got to
is.
be your favourite one.
It's got to exist.
It is already.
Don't
It is.
shush me.
It's already. It's the Cornish pasty is the ultimate pasty because we're in Cornwall and it's illuminous.
Luminous does not exist in nature in a pasty.
It doesn't.
You didn't even get to number 1. So what we're going to do, there's some great choices there, guys. Time to decide which
Right,
one
you
we're going to...
sarcastic bitch.
It's time for us to decide which one we're going to crown the Queen of Cornish, okay? And it's going to have to be the Cornish pasty, generally because it is a Cornish pasty. It actually exists, and you didn't even have a number 1.
I said pasty.
So Simon...
Pasty, I said.
Simon wins that round. For the next round...
1-0.
For the next round, need us to tell us about your favourite leisure spots in Cornwall. So we're going to go to Owen first this time. What would be your favourite leisure spot?
My favourite leisure spot in Cornwall have to be the beach.
Okay, why's that? Any favourite beaches? Any reasons?
Well,
Or are they all
I've
exactly
actually
the same?
taken the liberty of writing down a list of my favourite beaches, just starting at number 10, Gillingvays.
Is 10 the best or the worst?
10 is the worst beach.
So Gillingvays is the worst beach.
Gillingvays is well, it's at number 10.
Oh, right,
So,
okay, yeah. silly
Number
of me.
9, Swampole.
Doesn't exist.
Number 8, Rock.
Rock, yeah.
Rock. Number 7, Godrevy Beach.
Nice beach.
Godrevy's nice beach.
Why is it there?
Number 6, because number 6, Turalura.
Oh,
Better.
right.
Which is
Num-
actually a lot better beach. I agree with you.
Number 5, Nom Nom. Number 4, Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
Number
Hufflepuff,
3,
yeah.
the Great Barrier Reef. Number 2, Banksy. Number 1, Porthleven.
Porthleven.
I've gone with Porthleven
I like
as the best
Porthleven.
beach.
Yeah, okay. So Simon, what would you say your favourite sort of leisure spot would be in Cornwall?
Okay. Well, I haven't done a top 10 because there's only one thing that's the best thing in Cornwall. In fact, it's better than the days of the week, as the advert says. It's flam bars.
Okay.
Better than
I've
Thursday.
heard of this. I've never been.
Well, you've wasted your life then.
Put bluntly.
But
I
true.
can't.
Okay, so flam bars is the best place in the world because it's got a ball pool, which, if you're quite short, you're allowed to go on. It's got slides with, you would be able because you are a midget.
I am technically, but
Technically, you are a midget. You're 3 inches below the size for a midget, so you're technically
You
a
would
midget.
not enjoy
Anyway,
flam
got fingers out like this, which means
Sorry.
I'm thinking of
Yeah.
ideas. Okay, it's got slides, and it's got slides where you wear sacks on. It's got the demon drop, and it's got the best thing about it is Britain in the Blitz,
Yes,
which
good.
is where they've made a waxwork of the Blitz. So when you're like a kid on a school trip or something, you can go and watch other kids being bombed, which is enjoyable.
thing about flam bars is I've heard that it smells of shit. Is that true? Is that
Yeah, well, it does smell of shit because people shit themselves with excitement. Because it's friggin' awesome. Okay. One particular area which is awesome is, it's quite exciting for a young child, is they have the history of wedding dresses and they have over 1,000 wedding dresses on display.
Is that a
That is
flam
very
bar?
exciting.
Is that flam bars? It's a must-see for any
I'd love
sort
to
of
go and
future
see
bride or person that likes wearing wedding dresses.
I imagine kids would enjoy that as well.
They
They
do, they
love
find it
it.
the best.
Okay, so we've had those two options. Well, two. We've had about 20 really, but yeah, two as in Porthleven and flam bars. It's time to crown the winner on that one. And unfortunately, Owen, again, it's
Again?
Simon, because flam bars is amazing. So that's going to be crowned the best.
2-0.
2-0, yes. Okay, so what we've got next is the bonus round, okay? So if you could completely
be the best round
rebrand
ever.
Cornwall, what would you call it and what changes would you make to the county's image? So Simon, what would you, how would you rebrand Cornwall? What would you do to make it more appealing, shall we say?
Right, you're just throwing that one at me now.
Yep, damn right
Just
I am.
think of a new name for Cornwall.
Yeah.
Okay, if I could think of a new name for Cornwall, I would probably come up with Magic Land.
Yep, I can see why.
Because Cornwall has got like Merlin the Magician, and it's also 90% magical.
Yeah.
So it's good. The other 10% being the internet, obviously.
Yeah.
Where does that 90% come in?
The amount of magic that's in Cornwall.
I don't.
Out of-
90% is a lot.
Well, that's why it's called Magic Land and not kind of Magic Land. Which, if it was called kind of Magic Land, it would already have an anthem. So that's disappointing, but it is Magic Land. And if I was to rebrand it, like colour-wise, I would make it orange.
Orange, yeah, that says a lot about Cornwall.
Yeah,
Orange, doesn't
because
it?
orange is the colour of magic.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally agree with you.
Good.
So Owen, what about yourself? What would you do?
I would just have Cornwall sponsored by Pepsi.
Good.
Right. Okay.
You would probably get more money that way.
I would get way more money than you. Magic
Well-
Land, if I'm honest, is not going to pull. It's not going to pull the customers in.
But with magic,
Pep-
you could actually
Pepsi pay a
magic
lot.
Pepsi up. Cornwall's so full of magic that Pepsi could
Magic
be
Land
everywhere.
and Pepsi could do it.
They could do it together,
They could do
and
it.
you could both reap
We could
the
both
benefits.
reap the rewards.
What I would say is
This.
that's a shit idea because I'm quite competitive and I want to win. So Magic Land is better than Pepsi Land.
Well then,
Yeah, it is.
well in that case, I will buy Magic Land with the proceeds, half the proceeds probably of what Pepsi would pay me, and then just kick you out. So, and
But then the thing is, if Magic Land is orange and you've got Pepsi, Pepsi don't like the colour orange, do they?
No, they're oranges.
But
They are.
they'll
very.
just change it to whatever colour they want though once they've bought it.
So you're ruining Magic Land.
Am I?
I'm
Or am I
Cornish
making
and
it
I like
better?
magic. I like magic. I'm going with you. I like magic.
That's 3-0. This is something of a whitewash, and I'm inclined to
can't say-
believe it's a
You
fix.
can't say 3-0 because this is the bonus round. We're going to film another round after this.
It's all the same.
Okay, so I think it's time we're going to actually crown that. So I think that one is definitely going to go to Simon because I definitely like him more than Owen. It's definitely going to be rebranding Colour Orange and Magic Land. That's what Cornwall would be called.
It totally doesn't say that on the wiki.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. I'm making this stuff up off the top of my dome. For the next round, tell us about your one indispensable item for surviving in Cornwall. So, Owen, what would you say would be your one indispensable item?
My one indispensable item for surviving in Cornwall would be a piece of carpet, which I brought one with me today, which is pretty good for you take your shoes off or wherever you are, and you can just you kind of do this with your toes.
Right.
I don't know if the people watching want to keep an eye on this piece of carpet also, because if for continuity purposes, because it probably looks like a little slug going across the bottom of your screen. That's a joke which I stolen from one of the camera women there. It's come to that.
It's your best
Come
joke.
to that.
It's your best joke
My
so
best
far.
joke. It's not mine.
I'd certainly put it in your top 10 jokes anyway.
Yeah. Do you not have a top 10 list of items you'd...
I've taken the liberty of writing down a list of
Oh,
my top 10 jokes.
fuck off.
No? No? Right?
So, Simon, what would you say would be your one indispensable item in Cornwall?
I would say, if you're in Cornwall, you need £1.50.
And why is that?
Because that's how much it costs to get over the bridge to get out of Cornwall.
Do you have any other indispensable items to actually stay in Cornwall?
Yeah,
What
if
would
you had to
suggest?
stay in Cornwall, I would have a towel.
And why is that?
Because they're the best items in the world and they can do anything. You can do anything with a towel.
You're going to have to back this up.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
definitely. Because
So you can go fishing with a towel.
How?
You can use it as a net.
Oh, okay.
Or you could cut it into long thin strands and then tie them together and throw it in the water. And as we all know, fish love towels. So that would work.
The towel
Or
mullet.
you could use the towel to absorb all the water in a pond and then the fish would just be lying there and you can pick them up.
I like that. That's good.
You can sleep on a towel.
But you can't once you've cut it up to make a fishing rod. So if you've only got one towel...
It says on the autocue, it says towels.
Yeah, okay, so
I mean, I've
if
got
you
a
could have one
selection of towels.
indispensable item, you would have towels. Yes, I'd have 70 towels. That one answer.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would.
carry on.
Because you could towels as well. If it was the only item you didn't have any clothes, you could turn it into a suit. You could make a towel in suit.
Yeah.
A
Does that look
poncho. You can
good?
turn it into a
You could
poncho.
easily turn it into a poncho if you weren't very creative or didn't get a B in textiles, as I did.
Oh, right.
Oh.
It's interesting.
underestimated.
You underestimate it. And then you could use it for, there's more things. You could tie it to a tree and use it as a hammock.
Yeah.
You could lie under your hammock and use it as a shade. You can dry yourself with it. That's the main purpose of a towel.
Yeah.
And because it rains quite a lot in Cornwall, that could be useful.
I
Whip
think
people.
I'm agreeing with you here.
Whip people, you said earlier when we did it, and it was much funnier in the rehearsal bit.
Yeah,
Whip
when you
people.
said that,
Okay,
when
guys.
you actually had your own jokes about rugs.
Well,
Guys,
it still wasn't mine.
I think we're going to crown this one. All right. Dragging on a bit there. So we're going to crown that one. I do think that because of the examples and the effort put in by you, Simon, I do think that you will
Towels.
win.
Effort wins.
Towels definitely will be winning the
course it's
crown for that
towels.
one. Okay.
4-0, bitch.
Hey.
A rug's same as a towel.
You
Okay.
can't dry yourself on a rug.
Well, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you to Simon and Owen for joining us, and thanks to all of you for watching at home. We hope you'll join us next time as we crown the Queen of Cornish. I've been Graham Wilkes. Good night.